All right. Good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday. It is the 5th of February, and we are joined by an increasingly thin and athletic-looking Mashiane Sefuti. Hello, Mash.
Good morning, Gareth.
Haven't seen you in a while. You good?
It's been a minute. I've been fantastic.
You look fantastic.
I certainly do,
Yeah,
Case.
yeah, you are. See, proof. Because Mash decided, what was it, a year and a bit ago? Maybe just a year
It
ago.
was actually exactly a year ago. I decided last year, January, that I'm going to start taking my health seriously. And it initially started off just about, I just want to lose weight. But now it's gone overboard. I'm now a gym boot. I carry a gym bag in the car and I just have random gym attacks. Just 2 p.m. I'm just driving around Greece and I'm like, oh, I need to go to the gym. And I just go quickly. It's been awesome though.
Listen, I know it's probably really irritating to people who think that we talk about this stuff too much, and I've got past the point now where gym feels like a chore, a duty. Now I've got to the point where it's actually a fun part of my day.
You look forward to it. It makes you excited.
I love that, and also, I mean, I know there are plenty of people. I used to be one of those people who, when people would talk about gym, I'd go, "Who cares?"
That's so boring.
So boring, right?
Get a life. Stop gymming all day, all night.
I know.
But then once you get into it, you realize that this is actually really exciting and you can't get out of it. You really can't. You start needing excuses not to go to gym. And it's been amazing for me. Afterwards, you steam it as well.
Yeah.
It's nice. And
so here we go. Mash, Vyasan says you're looking great. Melissa says looking fab, Mash. Thanks. Cheekbones for days, says Tracy. Oh, wow. All right. So let's not let him get ahead of himself here. There are a lot of people online who were accusing you of doing all kinds of terrible things to yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I remember last time people were saying, Ozempic. But this is just, I've seen it over a period of a year. You say it's a year that you've been training, eating carefully. And, a lot of people who are still fat, they want to blame something. They can't imagine that I could get there if I just stopped eating like a fucking rhinoceros. So instead they look at Mash and they go, he must be on something.
Yeah, I mean, my own dad, my own father said that I look sick. He was like, you look very sick. Like, are you sick?
Yeah, but that's a very old school, like, subtle insult. You know how, like insinuating you've got like a slow puncture or something.
Exactly. And I wasn't too surprised when he called me 2 nights ago asking for my ID, because he was like, yeah, no, I'm just doing policies. I'm like, oh, the same father who said I'm sick. All you have to know, Gareth, this show is like my diary, okay? If anything happens to me, just go through the episodes. Just go on YouTube, search Mash Gareth Cliff. You'll find everything you need to know.
I hear you. And last time you spilt the beans and gave us lots of tea to drink over the uncle. Any word from that uncle? Has he still disappeared?
Oh, that uncle was around. Actually, this past weekend I was in Kwakwa.
Ironically enough. You saw the uncle?
Yeah. I find it funny how you guys always time me coming on the show so well with me going to Kwakwa. But yeah, this past weekend I saw all the uncles. My uncle who got married then vanished was there as well.
That's the one I was talking about, yeah.
But yeah, there's nothing eventful about him, because it wasn't about him this weekend. It was actually another uncle of mine's funeral.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the one I told you about too, I said has lots of kids everywhere and all that. Yeah, it was his funeral this past weekend. And it was quite an interesting funeral, mainly because there were many chief mourners.
Oh, in other words, a lot of women who he had been...
Yeah. And like a number of women. Like half the time, me and my cousin who I'm really close with, we were just like, who's she? Who's that one? Who's that one who just fainted? They're just fainting left and right. And it was just so
that's funny.
It was wild. It was very wild. But
that's
also
so great.
It just reminded us that shame, man, at the end of the day, he had a life. He had a life and he lived a very colorful life. And yeah, we just celebrated him this weekend. As we
life does need people like that. If everybody if everybody just followed the rules and did all the ordinary, I don't want any more friends who do that stuff. I've got lovely friends. I love them to pieces. They're good people. They, none of them are, well, some of them are slightly like savage and badly behaved.
Yes.
Feral is the word.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, but most of them are productive, good people who do things in society, and that's great.
Yeah.
And you don't want like a rampaging horde of lunatics as your friends, but you do want one or two who are a little crazy.
You do want that bit of crazy, but also you still want them to, I would say, take care of themselves. There's nothing worse than watching someone.
You don't want to see them deteriorate and end up a drug addict or any of that shit. But you do want some crazy in your life.
You do.
So I find when I'm at an event or something, I was last Friday, I always find these very odd kind of outliers, the ones who they look like they've got something going on that the rest of the people don't, because they're always fascinating to talk to. Okay, so let's look at this. Lots of people agreeing with you, Mash, on the gym. Oh no, says Vias, 2 gym butts on the show. It sounds like single folk. Well, in some ways, it's like it's a part of a routine too. I mean, I wake up to do the show Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah.
But other than that, everything's a little bit random.
Yes.
I don't know what I'll be doing most days after the show anyway. We have meetings and all kinds of things. But I make sure that somewhere in that day, there's a little bit of time for some exercise, a little bit of time for some food. And I'm becoming like a lot more picky about what I'm eating, because you have to be, right?
You have to be.
But people were accusing you of bleaching because you've gone lighter.
Oh, yeah. So
what's this all about? Like, are you bathing in hydrogen peroxide?
Oh, not bathing in it, but
what's the story?
So it all started from a picture that I posted about 2 weeks ago on Twitter. Or 2 pictures rather, a before and after of myself shirtless, showing the before and after of my weight loss journey. And
are you thirst trapping?
I wasn't even thirst trapping.
Okay.
I am not in the market. I am not in the market at the moment, I think. But yeah, so I posted this picture and people were all reacting. Well, I would say everyone, but a large amount of people are reacting, saying, you got lighter as well. So weight loss comes with complexion. And to a certain degree, yes, it does. You do get lighter when you do lose weight, when you start eating healthy, when you start taking care of yourself. Right. So your body's removing those toxins. And I don't know, I can't explain it technically, but I can say that it did make me lighter slightly. But then I did push it a bit further with my little routine that I do as well. I think James has a video of it.
You got that video?
Share it.
Let's play the video.
There have been rumors after my recent post on Twitter that I bleached my skin, and I just want to clear them. No, I did not bleach my skin. I whitened it. And here's how. I use the Clicks brand hydrogen peroxide 40% volume, and I mix it with my lotion. This is the lotion that I use. So I just mix a capful of the hydrogen peroxide with the lotion and then add a bit of glycerine as well, just for that extra moisture. Mix it up and you're good to go. I also mix the hydrogen peroxide with the toner that I use on my face. I just put a capful of the hydrogen peroxide in that toner. I just spray that on my face, take a cotton pad, wipe, and then I moisturize. Of course, there are some risks to using hydrogen peroxide on your skin, which I'm putting above. Don't say I didn't tell y'all. Don't say I didn't warn y'all. If y'all burn yourselves, thank you. And that is how I whiten my skin, not bleached it.
Sure. Okay. First of all, I didn't see that video. I saw the fallout afterwards where you were like losing it with people online. I mean, I'd say losing it, but you were actually very calm. So, okay, let's just look at this quickly, because here's the story that came after. A content creator landed in hot water after people started speculating about it. I love the way they won't just say your name.
They won't say my name. They need to sensationalize
Who are these people? I mean, like, why? If you're going to report on somebody, you mention their name and you show the link to their social media. Yes. Otherwise, you have no right to use their material. There, they've got pictures of you from
my
social media.
Yeah.
They're not allowed to use that unless you have given permission or unless they link back to you. Right? So whoever this is, fuck you. We're over these people who are like, they're basically parasites who try to steal some shine from what you're doing. Now, I didn't know that it was safe to mix peroxide with all the stuff, that your toner and your...
Oh, it's well, I wouldn't say it is.
It's probably not.
I wouldn't say it is.
Because, okay, so what I know as a chemist, hydrogen peroxide, which I keep in the laboratory, is a strong oxidizing agent. It can be used to disinfect things.
Yes.
When you add a catalyst of some kind, it breaks down because it's hydrogen with 2 oxygens. So it's 2 hydrogens, 2 oxygens, H2O2.
Yes.
When you add a catalyst to that hurries up the oxidation, because over time, hydrogen peroxide breaks down anyway. which is why if you have a bottle of it that you've had in the cupboard for more than 2-3 months, and you open the lid, it goes pop because there's a whole lot of extra oxygen that's built up in there. So it's not by any means dangerous. You don't want to swallow it, right?
Oh, certainly not.
Definitely don't drink it, even though it's so close to water. It's just one extra oxygen.
Yeah.
And you think, well, we breathe in oxygen. How could it be bad for you? It is. And when you use a catalyst, it very, very quickly bubbles and the oxygen comes out fast. You got to be super careful about that. But I didn't know people were putting it. And I mean, did you make this formula up yourself? Do you know how much to add?
I didn't even make it up myself. That's the crazy part.
You found it online?
The thing with online, Gareth, is that you can find anything you're looking for. You just search the terms in like you just search whatever you're searching for in the right way. You'll find an answer that you're looking for. So I did my research, and it did say that it did become very technical.
Okay.
Talking about parts per million.
Yes.
And
okay.
how much you should add.
Did they say how many milliliters you must add?
No, there is how many milliliters, but they did say that in a, for example, 500 ml tub, you want to add about a teaspoon. So how much is a teaspoon? Like 5 milliliters.
Yeah, okay. That's quite a lot.
About a teaspoon. Yeah.
And you know how many volumes, because when you buy hydrogen peroxide, it's either 30, 40, or 50 volume hydrogen peroxide.
Yeah, so I use 40 volume.
That's
on my research.
Strong. Sterk.
It's
you're going to be whiter than me eventually, Mash. Mash is going to be the whitest person in the show one day.
And then I go ahead and add extra moisture by adding glycerine to my lotion as well.
But your skin looks good, so it can't be hurting you.
I've been using it for a year, and my skin looks...
And you do face and arms and what?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I do the whole body. I do face, arms, everywhere. And it works beautifully for me in particular. There's no burning sensation. Don't even know it's there.
Not like tingly or anything?
There is nothing from my own personal experience. But of course, people went ahead and bought it. It got sold out on clicks online. It got sold out at a number.
See, you are an influencer.
Apparently.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when I posted that video, it was out of... I'm just sharing what works for me. And it is slightly dangerous.
Biasin, who's commenting a lot this morning, says Mash is going to start looking like FW de Klerk.
I need the land. So.
Oh, that's so funny. How long till you look like Kanyumbao? Okay, so this is actually not so new. There are all kinds of people. Queen Elizabeth I in England back in the 1500s, she used to use makeup to make her skin white. She liked looking ghostly white.
With lead
in it.
Yeah.
Lead and mercury. I mean, you know how dangerous that is. So your hydrogen peroxide is nothing compared to what she was doing. And I don't understand why people would be surprised that someone might want to go lighter, darker. I mean, you know, the same people who are criticizing you wouldn't bat an eyelid if some white person tanned.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have any issue with that.
They'd have no issue.
So they have an issue with you going a bit lighter. And you know what? You got to find the hair color that suits you. Yes. You got to find the skin tone that suits you. And the nice thing about living right now in this time and place is you can get all of that in a bottle and you can change it when you want.
Look, you can go to Clicks and come out a whole different person.
Oh, wow.
For me, it definitely worked. And when I posted that video, it wasn't out of, I want everyone to try this. They must all go and burn themselves.
Oh, my God. You didn't even say that. People asked you what you were doing.
Yeah.
So you told them.
So I was like, okay, this is what I did. And this is what worked for me. And end of story. So when it went viral, it did catch me off guard. And I started getting a load of questions that I couldn't answer. Like, there were just too many.
How many of them were from Kanyumbao?
All of them.
At least 10. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Mash, it's Kanye again.
A lot of people are like, I'm actually going to do this in my thigh region. Oh. So that's what majority of people are saying. They're like, my thighs need this. So they're going to start using it there.
Why the thighs?
Because your thighs get hyperpigmented.
Like from friction.
Yes, from friction. So yeah, a lot of black people that have dark thighs.
That's interesting. So I wonder, because I mean, this could also be useful for white people, because there might be white people who have like I don't know, from a stain or something, you know, they might have discoloration, which happens. I mean, listen, I'm not suggesting everybody should do this, but if you want to do it, you do it, right?
It is risky. Please do it at your own risk. And also, if you don't do your research before doing it, please don't come back to me. It's what I've been telling people over and over again. Do your research. Because there's a lady who posted a TikTok, actually. I only saw it yesterday. And she was like, guys, I tried this hydrogen peroxide things. Guys, it burned. It burned
she's
so
probably
much.
using the wrong... So you've got to do your own research.
Of course it burned because you guys didn't do the research. And I mentioned, I put so many disclaimers. Even the research that I put above in my video is like, this is not safe to use on your skin. So I wanted to make sure my ass is covered. I'm not trying to get sued, Gareth.
Did you put it in and then you mix it?
Yeah, you put in 1 cap in a 500 ml jar of lotion. Just one small cap.
Okay, well, now you heard it from Mash. So he's defending his use of this stuff.
I am.
He looks fine. He looks healthy. He looks happy. He's not tingling and itching at the moment.
Yep, not at all.
See, there we go. So, okay, a couple of things that are going on here. We had a very big show on Monday with Rob Hersov. He made a whole lot of noise, and so many people are still talking about it. So that's got a lot of attention. And then I see from Gray, the radicals are calling for you and AfriForum to be arrested for treason. I don't know how I'm linked. By the way, I don't know how I'm linked to AfriForum. But now that you've mentioned it, you crazy people online, I'm going to have to get them in here and interview them.
I saw AfriForum wants Trump to impose sanctions on ANC leaders.
So they've been talking to him, and this came up in my discussion with Rob the other day. And it seems that the people who are upset about this, instead of like going at Donald Trump because they know they'll lose, they think they can rather go for the lower hanging fruit of AfriForum. This is always what happens. Like weak loser people, they never go for the real source of their problems. They go for something that they can just reach and like just cause a little bit of trouble with because they're losers. They know they can't take on anything really strong.
They know
because they'll end up hurting themselves. So to them, they'll go after AfriForum instead of Donald Trump. Whether or not this had anything to do with AfriForum, we don't know. We have no idea. We know that they've been in contact with people like Tucker Carlson, and he's not even in the administration. I mean, Elon isn't talking to anyone here. He's talking to people in America.
Yeah.
But whatever has happened, Trump has opinions. He had opinions about Canada, Mexico, Panama, Colombia, and in the last week, all of them have caved to his demands. So he's going to get what he wants because he's the only strong guy in the room. And so I'm sorry for all the people who are suddenly like very, very excited about. Can I just talk about expropriation for a second?
Okay.
If you're a big fan of expropriation, and we're gonna share this a couple of hundred times on the internet during the course of the day today. If you're a big fan of expropriation, you can start right now by giving the government some of your stuff. So what I would suggest is anybody who really likes expropriation, just take your things, your phone. You might not even have a lot. Maybe you have your phone and your bag with your stuff in it. Go and take it to the union buildings and drop it off for the government right now. Set the example so that everybody else who feels like voluntarily being expropriated can start the process.
Yeah. Expropriate yourself first.
Correct. Because if you're not going to live by your own rules, then why should anyone else follow them?
Certainly.
I know that these people who love expropriation think it's other people's stuff that I'm going to get. But what if it's your stuff that I'm going to get? What if you give it to the government and then Cyril decides, actually, I think I'll give this to Gareth or to Mash or to someone who I know.
Yeah.
Then are you going to be such a fan of that? Even if you don't have a lot right now, do you really think you're going to get free stuff? Because this isn't like the lotto. I don't know how people think about this stuff, but if you believe that you give the right to ownership that you have over to the government and that's a good thing in any way, I hate to tell you, you're already doing that. We're already all being expropriated by whatever percentage you are paying in tax right now. That's already being expropriated from you. And it's not nice, in case you haven't noticed. You work for 12 months of the year, right?
Yeah.
But actually for you only work 6 months of the year.
Certainly. Yeah. It's quite sad.
So now you already know what expropriation feels like. Do you want more of that? And how do you think it's going to help you? Because how much has the government given you lately? I'll wait.
Yo, they're just giving me stress. Yeah, that's all they've given.
Why you give me Corobella? Okay, so let's just talk about some other things here. I see OR Tambo, power tripping, 10 million people trying to fly, mining in Durban. Wow, okay, so lots of activity, obviously, this morning at the airport. Now, let's just talk load shedding while we're talking about government competence for a second. So it was going to happen last week, remember? Yeah. They warned us. They're like, all of a sudden, they're like, we hadn't thought about load shedding all year. All of last year, most of last year, and most of this year. And then suddenly they come out with it. Oh, sorry, we're going to have to start this shit again. And everybody was like, nah, this is suspicious. Why? And it had to do with, obviously, they had a meeting of NERSA, the National Energy Regulator of South Africa, right? And these guys would not approve the increase Eskom wanted. So guess what we suddenly got? Load shedding.
Yeah.
People are like, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
You can't just turn this on because you can't get more money out of us.
Yeah.
Right? So anyway.
But also more money for what?
Please, man. Yeah, please. For exactly.
They have to give us line items.
What, are you getting more electricity? No. Getting the same amount you got before, maybe even less. Because we've all had to buy these bulbs that save energy.
Yeah.
We've all had to buy like plugs.
We all have solar inverters.
All of it.
We all bought this stuff.
Right. So why would we be paying more now, Eskom, for something we need less?
They think we're stupid. These ones. Straight up.
Anyway, Friday afternoon rolls around and then they suddenly go, oh, no, we've suspended it.
Was it suspended on Friday?
Suspended. There were still some places that got a little bit of load shedding. Yeah, of course.
Twice.
Yeah, of course. Please, because they didn't know whether they're switching it on, off, pause, start again. They don't know what's going on. But anyway, it does seem to me like these guys don't know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
They really don't. And I know Eskom has been run a whole lot better. Teto Nyati, who's there now, I'm a big fan of his. I'm impressed with what he's done at Eskom. But obviously, there were just people who were switching it on and off because they wanted to fuck with us.
They're like, because these guys won't give us what we want. Why you never give me?
Why you never give me?
Don't give me money. I turn off. I take power.
Why you never give me? Exactly.
That's the mentality in this country.
Oh my God. Well, it's got to stop because I don't think anybody's got any more to give.
We've got nothing left.
Right? I went to the shops yesterday. Oh, what a horrible experience.
What happened?
No, I just went to the shops and suddenly I realized like why I don't like going to shopping malls.
Okay.
I'll go to a store and I'll buy like 8 of the same t-shirt.
Why?
Because I'm boring that way. Also, if I find a t-shirt that fits me nicely and I like it, I buy 8 in the same color and then I go home. Shopping with me is so boring, Mash. It's so boring.
Yeah, not even Mark Lizardberg does that anymore.
I go in, get only what I need and I'm out.
Hi, Bo.
Yeah, I don't want to think about what to wear every day. Who has time?
Okay, yeah, it does take a lot of
Makes
time.
It so much easier. You just walk in, go into your cupboard, you look, okay, black or white t-shirt. What's it going to be today? Am I right? You guys know, the producers know. It's either black, white, or like gray. Keep it simple.
Well, I used to be like you for a long time. And I think what changed was my body. Like after working out and stuff like that. Now, I always want to show off my body. When I look for outfits, I'm like, ooh, I want the most sluttiest little piece of fabric. I just want a loincloth at this point. Even this past weekend, on Sunday, we were I don't know how to say that in English. We were I don't know if anyone can help me. Maybe someone in the comments can assist me with this.
What is that?
But so when somebody passes away, so like they put like a piece of black string on our necks and all that kind of stuff, and they cut a bit of our hair.
Okay.
And then they wash.
It's like a ceremony.
Hello. Yeah, it's a ceremony.
Okay.
Yeah, it's for the mourning period. So what happened was that morning, Sunday morning, I was just in my shorts, in my pajama shorts. But now, because my pajama shorts are so big, they like just hanging, you know? And I was in my underwear as well. I wasn't wearing a shirt. I was just walking around like that. And to me, it was like, ooh, chair, I am serving. I am serving all the time, 24/7. And I remember my mom laughing. She's like, what are you doing? Like, put something on. Why are you walking around like that? And I was like, you know what? That's what happens when you become fit and you just want to show off all the time, unfortunately. So even with clothes as well, I just buy anything and everything. Because one thing I've learned is that once you're in shape, everything looks good on you. So you just want to wear everything all the time or nothing, depending. But either way, it's completely changed my perspective on clothing, losing weight.
Okay, well, I'm happy for you. Maybe I'll change my mind eventually, but I just think, clothing, it costs a lot of money.
Oh, it does.
And there are so many options, and you don't need all those options. And when you find things that you like, just stick to what you like.
Yeah. And men's clothing is more expensive than women's clothing.
Is it?
It is.
Is it? Wow. Okay, I would never have guessed that. I don't know what women's clothing costs. I don't know how much. If I think about it, most days I can get by with a pair of jeans and a shirt, right?
Yeah.
And then probably the most expensive thing I'll be wearing is shoes.
Yes.
On any given day.
Certainly.
Right. So with women, their shoes are way more expensive than ours, aren't they?
No. Men's shoes are more expensive.
Not? Okay.
Think of a pair of heels from Foschini. Average, you're looking at paying $350, maybe $550 tops. Look at a pair of shoes for men. Look at Polo, for example.
I would never have thought that we would pay more.
You're looking at paying at least 1,200 Rand for a decent pair of comfortable, or not so comfortable, formal shoes for men. So men's clothing is generally more expensive. Look at shoes, formal shoes. Look at suits as well. A woman can wear a whole dress from Foschini for like $800. Get a whole dress for $800. While for a man, getting just a two-piece suit is 1,500 Rand.
Yeah, okay, right. Maybe you got a point.
It's generally way more expensive to dress a man.
Sure. All right. Well, I'm going to keep my outfit simple. So if you're coming here for fashion advice, don't come to me.
Come to me.
Go to Mash. Go to Mash. All right. So back to the comments. We've got lots of interesting things going on here. Yeah. Snaya says, nobody likes expropriation. I own 2 properties and I too am worried, but I don't agree that false information should be given to foreign governments to peddle lies. All right. So starting off, whether you own anything or you don't, you should be, and everybody owns something, even if it's just their phone.
Yes.
You should be respectful of the fact that whatever you've got, you've worked for. Mm-hmm. You've probably slogged for many years. You've done things that you didn't want to do at work. You've worked long hours. You've burnt the midnight oil. You've carried heavy stuff around. That's yours. Nobody else has a right to it. If you don't respect someone else's right to something, they won't respect yours. And then the whole thing falls apart. It's the basis of the economy. If you don't have property rights, how do you trade?
Yeah.
If you don't trade, there isn't an economy.
There's nothing.
I mean, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure that out. So Snai is right. But when she says here that it comes to false information being given to foreign governments, okay, this is a thing that our local media have been doing because they've realized no one listens to them anymore. Like when I talk about local media, I'm talking about radio stations, newspapers, digital news websites. These guys are all frothing at the mouth over this Trump thing. First of all, because they hate Donald Trump. Because for the last 8 years, they've learned that if you hate Donald Trump, you get clicks.
Certainly.
And that's not happening anymore.
Yeah.
Now, it's the liking Donald Trump stuff that's getting clicks. But they'll only catch on in 3 years' time. So it's fine.
Yeah.
They must lose. Most of them are going out of business anyway. I don't have to reiterate IOL, News 24, Daily Maverick. Most of these news radio stations, they're all falling apart. You know that. They're not making money. No one's listening to them. No one's reading them. No one's watching them. It's just the way it is. So you've got journalists who up to now have been the people who controlled information. They think they still are the only ones that are worthy of being believed. Yeah. So when they see that Donald Trump, for example, has found out about our expropriation law, they go, it's misinformation because they didn't give the information. The reality is, guys, you can go online and you can find out anything you want now. You don't need me, and you don't need Mash, and you don't need Adrian Basson at News 24. Yeah. You can find this out yourself, like Mash did about hydrogen peroxide in his face cream. Okay, you can figure this stuff out yourself. And occasionally you'll get it wrong, but mostly, if you're just diligent about it and you're quite sensible and you have a decent brain, you'll figure it out. So when we talk about mis and disinformation, the minute people use those terms, I just realize very quickly that they're bullshit artists. Nobody who actually wants to know stuff or has to know stuff or has found things out ever goes mis or disinformation. There's always been misinformation. You remember those gossip magazines your mother and grandmother used to read?
Oh, I used to love
right?
those. Yeah.
And in America, they used to have something called the National Enquirer.
Yes.
Where they used to publish stories. This is in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. Used to publish stories about people being abducted by aliens and people marrying their sisters and the Bigfoot in the forests and Loch Ness Monster and ghosts in haunted houses. And people were like, whew, that's some heady shit, that National Enquirer. But they didn't go, you must ban this. It's misinformation.
Certainly.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Then, during the 2016 election, you remember everybody was going on about misinformation and Russian disinformation, because there is a difference between the two, apparently. Who cares, though? So then what did it turn out? Russia. There were apparently videos of, like, hookers peeing all over Donald Trump. Remember that shit?
No.
Yeah, it was like, it was made up.
Oh.
It wasn't an actual thing. It was made up by the Hillary Clinton campaign.
Okay.
She paid people to make up stories. So if there's any source of mis or disinformation, you need to look at who's paying.
Yeah.
And it turned out that Russia wasn't involved. And even though they tried with, what was it called? Cambridge Analytica.
Yes.
To influence Facebook, it didn't have any impact. You can go and look. They've done the post-mortem on all of this. There were congressional inquiries into the Russiagate hoax. And it was a hoax. It was mostly nonsense. So if people tell you mis and disinformation, just ignore them. They obviously still watch television news and they still subscribe to an actual newspaper, and they're probably 85 years old. So just stop listening to them. All right. They're out of touch. That is no longer the way we get our news. Most people get their news from Twitter. That's where you want to know what's really happening? Go on to X.
Twitter. Yeah.
And you know what? You could follow 200 people if you want to, who have all different opinions and different sources and different ways of getting information, and you'll learn different things.
Yeah.
Some of it will be absolute bullshit. Some of it won't. But when people talk about things like this Expropriation Act, I'm tired of being told by journalists who got some degree while they were drunk at Rhodes that I can't understand by reading, and they can. And the only way I'll understand is if they tell me the story with their slurring speech and their drink in their hand.
Yeah.
Just because you spent a couple of years at Rhodes being drunk with drunk lecturers and getting a drunk degree doesn't mean I have to listen to you or take you seriously. I can figure these things out myself. I also learned to read. In fact, I didn't even need to go to Rhodes University to learn to read. And I didn't have to study under Anton Harber. And I didn't have to work for News 24 or the Daily Maverick to figure shit out, because I got a brain. Okay, it might work for a lot of your dumb readers. Doesn't work for me. So when I read, for example, people saying, oh no, but the Expropriation Act, it's not really an Expropriation Act. It doesn't really do anything different from the previous act. Then I'm like, well, why did they bring out another act?
Yeah.
Logic.
Why did they?
Well, because it's different. In this case, they can take my coffee mug and they can offer me zero compensation. In the previous act, you had to offer fair market compensation. So if you wanted my mug, maybe it cost me, I don't know, 40 Rand. You got to give me 40 Rand. And maybe you want to pay a little less. So you come in and you go, I'll give you 38 Rand. And I'll go, I don't really care about this mug enough, and I need 38 Rand. Sure, have it.
Yeah.
Or I can go, very special to me. I'll only sell it for 100 Rand. And then Mash will go, nah, it's not worth 100 Rand. You can keep it. That's how, yeah, sure. So that's how it works. When you look at the actual words, and remember, this has been assented to, so Cyril has signed it into law.
Yeah.
They don't just get in this act to take property away so that they can build a highway. Right? Like if your house, Mash, is in the middle of a place where they're going to build a highway, they're going to expropriate your property because they need a highway for all the people of South Africa to use. And you're going to go, okay, fine, but you can't just have it for nothing.
Yeah, they can't just have it for nothing.
So they must pay you for it.
Yeah.
And they're not going to pay you 700 million Rand for it.
No.
They're going to pay you like, your land's not so great. You can't really grow much on that piece anyway.
Yeah.
I'll give you like 700,000.
Yes.
You're like, cool. Read this stuff. It's not complicated, everybody. Yeah. It's really not. And don't fall for this crap where people say that they are the only route to knowledge, because they're not. You have the ability, with or without a degree, and I got to talk to you about that just now, remind me, to use your phone to find out anything, from putting peroxide in your cream to building a highway on land and figuring out what market prices are. And you don't need anyone else to figure this out. You can ask advice. You can go to experts. But didn't you learn during COVID that the experts know fuck all?
Yeah.
Right. So let's all just move on with this. And Snai, please don't talk about like people being given false information, because the only false information I see is the stuff that journalists are telling you about how much they know and you don't. Bitcoin Bit says they can't expropriate my Bitcoin. No, they can't. And there are no stats proving your claims, says Snai. I don't know what claims these are, so you guys have got to clue me up on that.
Yeah.
Very disappointing that the DA, says Moondancer, have bent over for the ANC on EWC. They've lost my vote. If you ever thought that the DA were like super strong, I got bad news for you. I tweeted yesterday, I said, today is Tuesday, the 4th of February.
Yeah.
What have the DA caved in on today, right? Because that's how they are.
Yeah.
I'm truly shocked by how stupid and naive the mainstream media in this country is, says Carl dos Santos. Clement on 702 turned out to be one of the most naive. It's actually scary. This EWC issue's really highlighted it. Yeah. Yeah, we got a lot of dumb people in the media business. Remember, you don't actually need to be good at anything now these days to get into media. You just have to have a good social media following.
Yeah, you just need a phone.
Yeah,
the phone is the only requirement.
You must have trended for a week with an unboxing video.
Yeah.
And they'll put you on radio.
They'll put you on radio. Straight up. I heard that's actually one of the key points that they consider now. That like, okay, someone has to have a big following.
Yeah.
Because it means their following is going to come listen.
Right.
Not necessarily.
Gareth, acknowledge the fact that there is no one that had their land taken away from them yet, especially because of their skin color. So Trump should inquire before. Okay, is that the whole story? So because they haven't done it yet, then it's not a story. So in other words, if they made an act to take things away from people, so that's their intention, you think they're never going to take anything away from people, then why make the act? I mean, guys, I don't want to call you stupid here, but if you don't see consequences coming from actions, it means you can't see patterns. If you can't see patterns, you don't have an IQ. If you don't have an IQ, you are basically unintelligent. The pattern is government makes law. Then they usually wait a while because that's how governments are. They're crafty like that. Then they find a case where they can make as little noise as possible. Yeah. So it'll be, some land that no one's used. Some land that is, they'll say they need to just put a bus stop there or something. And it'll be on the corner of two streets that nobody actually makes a fuss of. They'll talk to the property developer who owns it. He'll say, yeah, all right, you can have it for this, but can I have you fix this road here for me or whatever? They'll do some deal. And no one will make a big fuss about it. And then suddenly they'll dip their toe into slightly warmer water and they'll go, well, I think we should try and expropriate that piece of land because my cousin lives next door and this guy won't sell to my cousin. So let's try and expropriate it from them. And then before you know it, that happens. And that's when we'll get it challenged in the courts, right? That's not going to happen for a while. But why do you think they brought out the law? What, because it looks nice when Cyril signs it? Did you see Trump signing all those executive orders? Each one of those has to be executed, right? Now, if you make a law and you never execute on that law, why bother making the law in the first place? And how are you going to ever be taken seriously? What are you doing with your time if that's all you're doing? So, of course, you might claim, and by the way, there have been expropriations, but for probably quite legitimate reasons. There have been expropriations for the building of roads, for the erection of electricity pylons, all that kind of thing. It's been happening for years. It's just not controversial because the people whose land is expropriated are paid fair market value for that land.
Yeah.
And now they're saying they're not going to. Now, why would they do that? You think that that's just for show?
No, it's not. It's definitely not. I actually watched an interview last night on ENCA I'm trying to open my YouTube app, but for some reason it keeps crashing just to get who exactly was being interviewed. But this guy said that they were talking about the expropriation law, and he said that so the government doesn't plan on expropriating without compensation as a primary, I'd say, directive. The plan is to compensate as far as they can, and only in extreme cases would they have to expropriate without compensation.
These are the same people who can't run ESCOM.
Yeah, but at the same time, I was like, what's extreme cases?
Yeah, they just decide, right?
What's extreme cases?
So if they decide, for example, like your parents' place,
yeah,
right, is just, it's in a place where like somebody who they know, they just make up some nonsense. They'll say, "This, we need that property. It's emergency," or it's very complex circumstances. And then before you know it, because all the decision-making powers are up to them, then you're expropriated. And they have the right to do that. They can say, well, look, we made this law.
Exactly, yeah. I need a list of what the extreme cases are. Give me a PDF document, 1 page, 2 page, 10 pages, I don't care. Just give me a list of what are the extreme cases where we're going to expropriate without compensation. And then I'll be able to...
but they won't do that because they want to keep it as vague as possible.
It's
like the tax codes in this country.
It's so vague.
You have to figure out, that's why everyone has to have an auditor or an accountant, right? Because you can't figure out this shit on your own. They make it complicated on purpose.
Yeah.
Okay, so Snai says, Gareth, false information is throwing out terms like white genocide and white murders, like Rob did on Monday. No one is out to kill white people in this country. All right, fair enough. I've never used the term white genocide. I do think that we have a tremendous number of farm murders, and these farm murders go across the board. It's not just white people. There are a lot of black farmers who've been murdered as well. If you want to see what I'm talking about, you can go online and you could type in farm murders in South Africa, and you will find endless cases. Now, no one is out there making those up. No one's making up stories about old people being killed in their beds on a farm somewhere in Lichtenberg, okay? There are cases that are actually being tried in our courts at the moment on farm murders. And these are happening, and they are disgusting, and it's gross, and no one in this country should be dying. But we are losing farmers at a far higher rate than we're losing even policemen. That's a fact. So you can look that up, Snai. It's not a genocide, because it's not being engineered by one person sitting in a dark room going, we're going to go after these guys, and these guys. But this is when, for example, people talk about unnecessary stoking of racial hatred by political parties and politicians, where they say things like, kill a farmer. It's just unnecessary because you're adding fuel to a fire that's already burning. So if you're denying that any farm murders are happening, then you're the one who's wrong. And I'm saying we shouldn't use terms like genocide in this case either. What I would say is that there's far too much of it going on, and every single one is a tragedy. Whether it's one or whether it's 5,000 happening, it shouldn't be happening.
One is too much.
One is too many. Yeah. It's like when you hear about these kids who die when they get circumcised in the mountains, when they go for their what do they call the ceremony that they do?
Lebollo. Oh, that's so true.
In the Eastern Cape, what's the Xhosa thing? Because that's mostly they go up into those mountains, and some of these kids never come back, or they die because of.
Maybe you can.
I can't remember. Flex, what do you know what this is? Flex is Zulu.
He's Zulu. No, he's okay. Zulu. He looked closer.
No, he's Zulu. Sorry. No, please, he was. How do you say looks? You look white. All right, so let's just stop with the fake information, because you don't want to be accused by the journalists of the fake information,
certainly.
Right? Andy says they take away our electricity and water. Yeah. All right, we're not going to sit here and complain about all this stuff all morning. I agree with you, GC, says Signet. I just wonder why he's only punching on countries that are far less economically powerful than the US. I've got bad news, Signet. Everyone in the world, country-wise, is weaker than the US. And it's not just the US he's going on. I mean, weaker countries. The only comparable power is?
China.
You know what he said to them? We're going to slap a 10% tariff. And China are now dancing around trying to figure out a way around this.
Oh, they're fighting back.
No, but what are they going to do? Because he can make a 10% tariff on all Chinese imports.
Yeah.
So even China, I don't know what your argument then is, Signet, because he's gone after China too. And he's won every single one. so far. Gareth, invite guests on your show that understand the Expropriation Act. Invite Sizwe Mpofu, Mighty Jamie Penwell, whoever, and debate the other side of this topic. All right. Those guys are also just like me. They can read. They don't necessarily know more. And I have been speaking to Penwell. He's probably going to join us next week, right, James? Yeah, all right. So he'll come on and we can have this discussion with him. If you think it's very one-sided on the show, I don't know why you would think that. I haven't ever made this show about expropriation or about bills and acts through Parliament and the President. But if you want to go there, we can go there. Ramaphosa is vendor. Pala Pala is not in vendor. I think Pala Pala should be given to the rightful owners, says Mo Rabbit. Or is it fine as long as you're black? Well, it depends on what's on the sofa.
Yeah, it depends on that.
I mean, if under that cushion mash, you just want to check in case.
Hey, I thought this cushion was a bit.
We better check. First, it'll be the land, says Julie, and then it'll be your pension fund. Well, what do you think NHI is, guys?
What's happening with the NHI bill, by the way?
The reason that Aaron Motsoaledi and so many other people in this country are so excited about NHI, I heard, don't forget, Panyaza Lesufi last year was during the election campaign.
Yeah.
He was going around telling people, tomorrow when the ANC wins the election, you will be able to walk into any hospital and get treatment.
I remember.
Do you remember that shit?
Yes.
And people believed him. Okay, so that's what they're selling you because they know you're stupid. Or they think you are. Most of us are not as stupid as they think we are.
Yeah.
But what they're really after, guys, is they look at the new building Discovery put up, which is not so new anymore. It's sort of 4 years or whatever.
Yeah.
But they look at that and they go, those guys know how to make money. How do they make their money? Well, turns out some of us are contributing to a fund that Discovery manages, which they help you to pay for very, very big medical expenses with.
Yes.
Because otherwise you wouldn't be able to afford operations, emergencies, cancer treatments, all kinds of stuff that you need to be able to pay for.
Yeah.
They looked at that because the guys we're talking about in government are just greedy. You know this already. I mean, this is like, I think something like 1.7 trillion rand has been stolen. Gone.
Of course.
And of course, a big part of that is the Guptas.
Yes.
But there are other people in government who've done very well. You know about all these stories that have been going. It's been in the news for how long? I don't have to explain to you that the government steals money. They're very good at that. That's the only thing they're good at.
I remember we also used to hear stories all the time about how, remember that hospital where they ordered like 3,000 pairs of jeans and stuff like that? And which hospital was that again?
Somewhere in the Free State, I think.
Yeah. Now imagine that larger scale.
Now, they look at these medical aids and they go, how can we get our hands on that money?
Hey.
That's what it is. It's got nothing to do with providing healthcare for people. It's like BEE had nothing to do with helping young black business people.
It doesn't help any that I know.
Right. All it's done is it's made people who are in the ANC, who are connected to the ANC at the top levels, very rich.
That's what it has done.
Right. Yeah. So we've got to stop bullshitting ourselves that any of this stuff is about empowerment, free healthcare, helping people to get off of dependency. None of it is about that. It's all about what can we get and what can we take? And if you don't see that, then I don't know how to help you. So Julie, you're right. Next, it'll be your pension fund. They're already coming after all the money that you've saved, that you've already paid tax on, by the way.
Yes.
Just remember, everything that you currently have comes from the money you've already paid tax on. You already paid tax before you could put that money into your property or your pension fund or your medical aid. It's already been taxed. Now they want to tax it again.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
And who was that? Who was that minister who was also proposing a tax on alcohol to fix to fund RAF?
I found out this week that there is a huge battle going on, lobbying groups and so on, all lobbying Parliament, because they want to change the liquor law again.
To what now?
I don't know. But these guys must be careful because South Africans, we love to puzza.
Don't mess with our liquor.
Don't? You saw during COVID, right?
Yeah.
What's the one thing we still found, guys? Puzza.
Liquor.
Puzza.
Yes. One way.
don't take away and don't fuck with our alcohol. You know how much they make out of every bottle of alcohol you buy, right? It's about, I think it's a third.
Okay.
Might even be more. Might even be closer
money.
to a half now.
Yeah.
Of everything you pay for when you buy that bottle of whatever.
Yeah.
It's going straight to them.
What? That's a lot of money already.
Yeah.
And they still want more.
Yeah, they want more.
So how is that money not enough as is?
Because when you are stealing, you can't stop. It's an addiction. And they are paying for so much stuff they can't afford. You know, like these ministers who fly via Dubai and then they pop into the Louis Vuitton store.
Yes.
It's expensive shit, Mash, you know. You were talking about clothes just now. I mean,
to show up in a yacht, it's expensive. That
and they're buying G-Wagons and God knows what else. This costs money. They've got to keep finding new ways to steal. So they're now trying that with the liquor as well. And I'm going to say, if this country ever does break out into a proper revolt, it'll be about liquor.
When it comes to the liquor, we don't play games.
And that's one thing that brings us all together.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Ordinary, rich, poor, black, white, young, old. We will all come together.
No, we will come together. Those grannies who are saying Zuma must fall.
Remember them? They like to drink.
I will be with them right there.
For sure.
And we'll all be striking. We'll all be striking together. We'll all be toy-toying.
Oh, well.
One way. Not
Trust
the
me,
liquor.
don't go for our liquor.
Because it's also already so expensive. Liquor is getting a little bit expensive in this country as is. I don't know if you've noticed.
No, it is. It's way too expensive. So I bought.
Too expensive.
I had people around a couple of weeks ago, and I went to one of these big liquor stores. Don't need to give them extra advertising. I already spent like a fortune there.
Yes,
it cost a lot of money. Ooh. And then you go out with your trolley, and people look at you like, big drinker, alcoholic.
Yeah, that's money.
It's for other people too. I mean, some of it's for me, but it's for other people too. And then the guy who is in the parking, who's now going to help me, but I don't need help. I mean, I'm like able-bodied. I can put the stuff in the boot. Yeah. I don't need anything from him, right? I just parked there. It was just the open parking I saw. He didn't help me find it. He didn't look after my car. He didn't do shit. But he's like, he looks at the trolley and he's like, you got money. So I'm like, no, I'm not being taxed on you as well.
He'll come help you put that one box in your
please.
I know. Because he can see that this one has money.
By the way, I don't know how everybody else feels about this, but I'm one of those people who takes my trolley back myself.
I don't. Sometimes I do, depending. But also, Gareth, I like tipping the guys.
If it's important to tip them. Who has cash these days, though?
I always keep cash.
You always keep cash?
Box. Yeah.
Okay. So
I always keep about 500 Rand in coins.
I use this to pay for everything, my phone.
Yeah.
And I don't have cash on me. So I don't want to get the guys' hopes up by saying to them, and I'm also not one of those shitty people who says, thanks for the help, and then gives them nothing every time. So I take my own trolley back. I make a point of it too. Like as a good, responsible citizen, I don't drop shit on the floor like everyone else in this country seems to do. You know, I don't leave a mess where I go. I don't make a mess where I go. I put my trolley back. I am a conscientious person. Yes. I don't ask anything of you. You can't ask anything of me.
Yeah. It's like at my gym, we have car guards at our gym.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Mainly because there have been incidents.
Yeah, sure.
There was a day, I think I did mention this on the show previously, that there was a day when there was gunshots in our parking.
Hey, you know someone stole a car here the other day?
Here?
Yeah.
Here, in this complex.
Yeah.
What happened?
Right, guys? What happened? So apparently, what happened was these guys came in an Uber, right?
Uber?
Yeah, they came in an Uber. So they got through the gate and then they went into the underground. I mean, this happens in office parks all over the place. So let's not pretend it's just our problem.
Yes.
But now that it's happened here, security's all on alert the whole time. And then they found this car and they stole it. I don't know why they chose that car. Maybe it was unlocked. Maybe they
must have been planned.
I don't know. Who knows, right? Because there's always people talk about an inside job. Then they talk about the security company being involved. So even this morning when I drove in, I'm like, hey, check the security guys out. I'm like, I've never looked at them that way before. This time I'm like, wonder if you guys were in on that thing, huh?
Yo, it was suspicious, especially when they drove in.
Sorry, but I interrupted you. You said at your gym and your parking.
Oh, yes, there was gunshots. I think it was a security shooting at a car that was driving away because they actually broke into someone's car who was gymming and stole a laptop. And I remember the crowd around was like, why would she leave her laptop on the seat? Why would she leave her laptop on the seat? I'm like, yeah, of course, that's something that we are taught. You have to be vigilant. But at the same time, it just sucks not having that freedom.
Yes, this man.
Not being able to just forget your laptop on your seat every now and then in the car. And that wasn't the only incident. There've been a couple of incidents in our gym parking. It's also underground, by the way. It's covered. And but the guards are on high alert. And now they've even added these guards who wear camouflage. So we have the car guards who wear their little bibs, their neon colored bibs. And we also have actual armored security there in the parking.
And it sounds like you're training in a military compound.
Oh yeah, I definitely do. And look, I tip them all. I tip them all.
Listen, I do tip people, and I sometimes tip very generously.
Yeah.
I gave 100 Rand to someone the other day.
That's too generous, Gareth.
Okay, I know, but it was all I had, and I felt like this guy. It was before Christmas, and I felt like, shame.
That is too generous.
I know, but the problem is there's no rule for this stuff. And we don't all have to give the same amount. And some people give 0 and some people give a lot. So I will reserve the right to decide on a day, depending on how I feel, whether or not I'm going to tip people.
Yo, 100 Rand, take me to dinner. Hey?
Anyway, listen, Snai is going on a mad tear here about this Expropriation Act. Snai says, have you people read Section 12 of the Expropriation Act? If we're going to attack people for reading, I think you should all read Section 12 of the Act. You realize that people will be compensated. Yes, Snai. Oh, God. Okay, I'm going to go over this one more time. The whole reason there is a new act is because government themselves can decide how much they will compensate you. And guess what? They can also decide to compensate you nil, N-I-L. It's in that same section of the Act that you've just brought up. Look, it's right there. That's why there's a new act, Snai. So they can decide based on the weather, like I can decide how much I'm going to tip somebody.
Yeah.
Government can decide, we're not going to pay that much for that. We'll offer you nil.
Yeah, they can decide it's an extreme case.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, Snai, just like we all get to decide how much we're going to tip the car guard, who we don't really need, government can look at you and look at your property and go, we need the property. Snai doesn't really need it. We're going to give 0 in compensation. That's the point of the new Expropriation Act. That's why it's different. That's why it's there. That's why it was signed. These guys know what they're all about. They know they're good at being crooks. Okay? Don't tell me you suddenly trust them because you've read this act and you are thinking with rose-tinted glasses it's going to be implemented by good, honest people. Anyway, I do want to move on from this because I think it's all going to fall down in execution.
Yeah.
Everybody take a deep breath. All right. While it is disgusting and immoral for any government to try to seize stuff that is not theirs, they're already doing that with tax. We figured that out. So in other words, every government in the world is disgusting and immoral because they tax you. They should not be able to take your money at gunpoint without your permission. And if they do take some in order to keep the country working, security, like borders, roads, all of that shit.
Show us the country's working.
Sure, then we'll pay, right? I mean, I even jokingly said to the Minister of Correctional Services 2 weeks ago, because we were at an interview together, and I said to him, Minister, I would pay an extra 3% tax if you'll build a big prison and put politicians in it. And he laughed. Okay, but the reality is if you're getting something for your money, and all of us feel always that we're being cheated by government, because we actually are, but if we're going to pay a little bit of tax to keep things working, then show us the value. If you're going to keep adding stuff to that bill and we're getting nothing for it, we're not coming to your restaurant anymore.
Yeah, because we're paying our own refuse. We're paying for our own pick it up. We're paying
separate.
For our own security.
Separate.
So what are we paying for?
Correct. Anyway, the point is, these guys lie, they steal. They're going to find new ways to lie and steal. They're going to make it the law. But don't worry so much. And I don't want anyone to wake up this morning, have heard this show and start panicking. Before we end this half of the show, Mash and I actually wanted to talk a whole lot of shit about other stuff. But you guys, you took us there. You sons of bitches. You in the comment section, you got us talking about this, right? This wasn't my fault. I didn't come up with this stuff. Am I right, guys? Who? Briefly. What the fuck's that?
The fuck is that? Oh, the people wrote my article.
So these are those is it like an AI aggregator that gets stories that are trending on?
I don't think it's AI because they wrote with Vinag in their article, which was very weird for me. They're like, oh yeah, Krima. I was like, how?
Okay, well, people are writing articles about us because we're interesting. But also, comment section, I'm blaming you for bringing us up this expropriation thing.
Yeah.
Let me put your mind at ease before we finish this hour. Government are shit at everything they do. This government, our government, South Africa, they are cuck at implementing and executing everything.
Yeah.
They're going to fuck this up as well. Take a big deep breath, relax, grab your coffee. It's almost the weekend. We've got long weekends coming up in April. Nice ones, Mash.
Oh, yes.
Nice ones. Get ready for that. Just chill. It's summer in South Africa. Life's not so bad. It's Wednesday. Just everybody. Woosa. Okay? We'll be back in a minute.
The answer to masculinity is not making it more feminine. Like, if I'm in a room with 5 women, I don't give a how independent those 5 women are. But if a man walks into that room with a knife, those 5 women will look at me to protect them.
Yeah.
Yep. Right?
Absolutely.
Now, the world cannot be selective when they need men, right? It's been very fashionable for the last 6 years to bash man and call us trash. But when we have to go to war, we're the first people they look at. When it comes to a fight or to protect you in that moment, they will look at us. So for me, masculinity is a beautiful thing. The world needs masculinity. Making us more feminine is not the answer to masculinity. Does masculinity have a problem? Yes, we do. Do we have toxicities? Yes, we do. But do not think for one moment that the world can keep on going without masculinity. Because that's funny as
Now, we started 2025 telling you that we like cricket again. Dom, how's it?
I'm well. Thanks for that lovely introduction.
Do you think there's too much cricket currently being played because you've got SA20 and then players ultimately going into the IPL and then going into, Champions Trophy and then going into...
That's a question from ChatGPT.
No, it's not. It's literally, we've been discussing for 4 weeks.
So the guys in the English kind of realms go a bit heavier than the SA guys?
If you win, cheapers, there's no going on before midnight.
Dom, I mean, when Man United lose, are you like, or does it actually hurt you? Like, how big of a fan?
This is a terrible analysis. You don't have to answer the question, Dom.
I don't have any issues with people sleeping around. If you're wanting a strong relationship, it can't be started on the basis of we meet today, tomorrow we're sleeping together.
It used to be you'd go out somewhere social, you'd meet someone, you'd exchange numbers, and then you'd almost go on a series of dates before you even thought about sleeping together or taking things to the next step. This was in the age of models. That age is dead. Because now it's very fast. I can go on Tinder and I can find 2 things real quick because I'm cute. I can go out to the club and I can package 1 table there because they're drinking Savannas. You check what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're within my budget, PH can go, he can operate because it's a champagne table. Yeah, bo? It depends on the man.
All right. Well, we're back. Portuguese. Okay, I sent that to you a couple of days ago, James. We finally get it out. Oh, look at this beautiful picture of Johannesburg sky this morning. As I walked into the office, I took this. Have you got that picture? Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous?
That is beautiful.
That's just off my phone this morning. I think that's lovely.
Gareth, this is my new wallpaper.
Isn't that nice?
This is beautiful.
Yeah, I
Sure.
like that. And these guys who are designing our sets and things, they say to me, "Oh, I don't know where I'm going to get where am I going to get a HD 4K version of a Joburg sky?" And I'm like, I'm like half asleep this morning, walking into the office, and I took that. Just show it again. That's a good picture. Right? Look at the colors in that sky. We live in a beautiful place.
You must start selling these wallpapers.
Right, Mash? Why have you put on your glasses now? What's going on? Just to see that?
No. Just because I have something that I'm going to read in a second.
Oh, okay. We're going to get a lesson from Mash, Pastor Mash just now. Okay, a couple of things going on in the comments here. I see lots of people fighting with each other in the comments. Calm down, everybody, all right? It's too early in the morning for us to be fighting. Tabo says, I want problems all the time. Not sure what that relates to, Tabo, but okay, we'll take your word for it.
Good for you, Tabo.
Then there are people like Lee, who says beauty is everywhere. It's all about perspective.
It is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But Mash thinks beauty is in gymming, eating properly, and using peroxide in your cream.
For me, it's not about beauty.
It's working for you.
It's about feeling good.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Don't take anyone else's shit.
Certainly.
Whatever you want, Mash. Yeah. This is your life. You live
100%, yeah. But Gareth, there's actually a new trend at the
What's
moment that's taking the world by storm.
Thank God you're here, because I don't know anything about new trends. Go on.
So it's actually two trends, but I'm only going to cover the one. So it's called micro-retirement. Have you heard this term before?
No.
So it's a new thing that young people are doing, Gen Zs are doing in the workplace. And instead of taking one long retirement when they turn 65, they're deciding to take small retirements throughout their working career. So meaning that I work for a year, I retire for 8 months or up to a year. I work for another year, I retire for another year, and so on and so forth. So this is a new thing. Of course, it's quite expensive. So
yeah, you need to have a lot of money, because by retiring, we don't mean moving back in with your parents.
No, you're continuing your life, your way of life, standard of life, but you need to be able to afford it for up to a year. So it's a new thing that's coming in, and people are loving it. Young people are loving it because they're saying it's for their mental health. It's helping them out in terms of wellness.
Please, these young people, they need so much help with their mental health.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, you can't say we anymore. Now Mel, Mash, once you were the youngest, Mash. It's like when Simpiwe is on Friday's shows. When Simpiwe comes in here and she's like, now almost, she's getting closer and closer to 30, right?
Yes, she is.
Yeah, so you can't claim to be like, there is a whole generation of people who are in their early 20s and in their late teens. They are now the young people.
I think
I'm
in that stage where I'm in denial. I'm in denial because, approaching 30, there's a lot of denial and all that stuff. You're trying to turn the clock back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in that phase. So I think I might just micro-retire. But also, alongside micro-retirement, there's another trend that's coming into play, and that's the great retiree return.
Oh my God, what is that? That sounds horrible.
The great retiree return is old people or people who have retired returning to the workplace due to financial pressures because they simply cannot afford to retire.
Oh, okay. I feel that's very, very sad.
That is very sad. And
if they were coming back because they wanted to, fine. And I also don't think retirement should be a thing.
Yeah,
I'm the opposite. I'm the opposite of these micro-retirement fuckers. I think that you should be able to work until
you say I'm good.
Yeah, and you must decide. And obviously, if you're physically or you're mentally impaired, like we can't have you there if you've got Alzheimer's and you can't remember your own name.
Oh, certainly.
I don't want to be paying you a monthly salary to forget where you. Oh, where am I? What day is it?
You at work, Gareth.
Are you my grandchild? No, I'm your boss. Okay, I don't want that. But you should be able to, if you are mentally and physically well, you should be able to keep working.
Hi. So then there's an article here from Forbes that I got here. And it says, while Gen Zs are taking micro-retirements, baby boomers are leaving retirement and returning to the workplace in droves. Why? According to Shanna Milford, US HR lead at Iris Software Group, for the 13% of retirees planning to re-enter the workplace in 2025, financial pressures like rising living costs and non-medical debt are key drivers. Beyond financial stability, returning to work offers retirees social benefits, a renewed sense of purpose, and opportunities to slow down without throwing in the towel. So
Shame.
It is quite sad.
I mean, I don't ever want to see like an old man or an old woman suffering. I hate that because it's, even though I don't really like a lot of old people.
Yeah.
Okay? Who does?
Certainly, yeah.
Don't laugh. It's true. No, I do feel bad for them if they have to work into their 80s.
Yeah.
I think that's horrible.
Because the sad thing about the sad part, or rather the sad reality, is that your quality of life when you retire is not necessarily going to go down, but hopefully your expenses do. But of course, life is also unpredictable. Maybe some people are paying bonds into their 70s.
Maybe these 75, 80-year-olds are balling and they want to show off. They're driving G-Wagons and buying Louis Vuitton jackets. And you never know.
I wish that was the reality. But yeah.
No, I just think that if you want to, you should be able to work. There shouldn't be a forced retirement age. If you want to, you should be able to work until you're 100. As long as you can. But if you need to, because you haven't, maybe, the cost of living's gone up so much, inflation's gone up so much that even though you thought you'd be saving enough and it wasn't enough, which is the case for most people in this country.
Yeah.
They always tell us, maybe 10% of people will be able to retire.
And Gareth, also, the thing is with a lot of people, so they say most of your movement, most of the calories you burn while walking, while doing menial tasks that you don't even think about.
Right.
Now, for most people, that is all their exercise throughout their lives. Just going to work, walking up the stairs, going to Belinda's office, etc.
That Belinda. And her office is always the furthest away.
So that is their exercise, full stop. They have no other exercise apart from that. So when they retire, they die within 2 years.
That's such a good point. I never thought about how
my own grandfather as well.
Just going to work is most people. That's all they do.
It's all the exercise.
I thought about that actually when I was coming up the stairs before I took that. Just let's say beautiful photograph. Just put it up again. It's such a great photograph. Just from this morning, I know that some people study photography and buy fancy cameras, but I just did that while climbing up the stairs today. And while I was going up the stairs, I thought, I don't use the lift here.
Yeah.
I go up these 2 flights of stairs. I never get to the top and I'm out of breath. And if I do, trust me, that's when I'm going to have to go check into some fat farm or whatever. But people do. They don't even realize, like, going to work, going to the car, going to the shops. These are things you have to do on a daily basis that are actually part of keeping fit.
Yeah. Nobody even thinks about it. But
no, I never thought about it until today.
My own grandfather retired and 2 years later, poof. Dead. Most of I don't have any grandparents at all.
Yeah, mine are all gone as well.
Yeah, they all just started.
Yeah, but
they all retired 1-2 years.
But Mash, it's they've done us a favor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
But also then going back to the micro retirement, here's a few case studies of people who did micro retire. So, so here's one of them. According to Adama Lona, a content creator on TikTok and YouTube, who describes herself as having a renaissance approach to personal development. She says, when you are away from work this time, when you are away from that work this time, this retirement frees up your mind. Lona, who says she is in her 20s and has 140,000 followers on TikTok, 36,000 on YouTube. She explains, instead of waiting until you're 60 or 70 to travel the world, do it while you have your youth, your energy, your health. Another TikToker, Anais Felt, said that she is 6 months into a micro-retirement from the corporate job she claimed, and she claimed, rather, I have never felt better. I've never felt healthier. I've never been more rested. It's been amazing. However, Felt mentioned that before doing so, she had saved a sizable chunk of $70,000.
Oh, yeah. Come on. Like, if you've got money, you feel fine working or you'll feel fine retired.
Certainly.
Most people are not at work because they want to feel good. They're at work because they want to make money so they can feel good.
Exactly. Most people don't even have money to save.
Oh, my God. All right. Listen, before we bring on our guest for this morning, I'm very excited to talk to this guy. I haven't spoken to him for ages.
Yes.
I do want to quickly refer to one other thing that is important here. Mash is talking about micro retirement, but apparently we're opening a new water school in South Africa.
Ooh.
Yeah, Rand Water are establishing a technical academy to enhance skills development in South Africa's water sector. I'm all for this, by the way. I think this is very good news.
Yeah.
Here's a glass of water from I think it's tap water. I don't know. We just get our water coolers filled. Who knows? Maybe they filter it, maybe they don't. But I'm not one of those people who's particularly fussy.
Yeah.
We've always had very good water in Johannesburg.
It's pretty good.
Been among the best in the world. Whether it's still that good, I don't know. But this water academy might sort things out. So here's a place to send your kids and grandkids rather than paying exorbitant fees at university. Send them to the water school so that they can take over water and sort things out there where it's not working. And then we don't have to stress. Everybody got me so stressed. Like 2 years ago, they're talking about, we've got load shedding. Next, it's going to be water shedding. Remember?
Yes, I remember.
Yeah. Well, they're still on that. There's some people who are still saying that's going to happen. They might be right. The facility will focus on digital water management. I don't know what that is, but
digital water. Okay.
Don't ask me. Automation, intelligent water systems, incorporating advanced labs and simulation tools. Hey, as long as it makes this okay to drink, I'm happy with it. The academy will repurpose an existing building. Construction set for completion by November 2026. Great.
That is amazing. That sounds lovely to me.
And you spoke about retirement, and I just want to say that South African billionaire Don Ncube died yesterday at the age of 72.
Oh, no.
Yeah, leaving behind a legacy of innovation in insurance, property, and hospitality. He pioneered telephonic motor insurance with Auto & General, expanding his ventures into the UK and Australia, where he founded the BGL Group and Compare the Market. So he was really an innovator in the insurance world.
Yes.
And that's why he ended up with so much money. His businesses now employ over 10,000 people globally.
Yo.
More recently, he realized his vision for Stain City, which of course is a luxury development in Johannesburg. A noted philanthropist, he also pledged 370 million to COVID-19. One of the most interesting things about Don Ncube, and we will move on from this in just a moment, but I don't know. I didn't know the guy personally. I'd met him once or twice. Certainly, this man had a visionary personality, not just in terms of insurance, but you look at what's happened at Stain City, and he thought big. As a guy who could make things happen. And he was also a big friend and supporter of Nelson Mandela when he came out of prison.
Okay.
For example, Mandela stayed at the Saxon, which was Doe's house. It's now a hotel. That used to be Doe's house.
Oh, it used to be his house.
And Nelson Mandela stayed there as his personal guest for, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years.
Yo.
Yeah. And Don Ncube was very, very supportive of him financially. He also, Madiba, this is, wrote the last few chapters of Long Walk to Freedom. He put together a lot of his plans for the government that would follow in 1994 after he was released from prison, when he was staying with Doe either at the Saxon or he had he built his own little Camp David for this man. So Madiba had a place in the Waterberg where he would go.
Okay.
And he would be able to invite people there and in the bush where no one else bother him, get away from the noise. And Don Ncube did a lot of stuff that people don't even know about in order to get this country up on its feet and out of the starting blocks in the early 90s. So a good man and a sad loss to our business community.
Yo, that is such a sad loss. So he never retired?
No, he did retire.
Oh,
he definitely retired.
Okay.
But died at 72. He wasn't well towards the end. But, a really important guy. So I want to bring on somebody who I think a lot of people in the audience may know, Pigspotter. Do you know Pigspotter?
I know Pigspotter.
Okay, Pigspotter, a very, very famous, some people would say infamous Twitter account. This guy, Cliff Pinto. Now, he and I were often confused for each other because he's got a Cliff in his name and I've got a Cliff in my name. I mean, people are really bright. He was the one who used to tell us where the cops were, what they were doing. This is how it all started. And it became probably one of the most powerful, influential, useful, interesting Twitter accounts in South Africa in a very short space of time.
Yes.
And also got him into huge shit. So he's here this morning, and it's nice to actually have you in the studio. I mean, I've had you on radio shows before.
Yeah.
We've spoken a couple of times. I just realized this morning I wasn't even following you again because I cleared out a whole lot of... No, I'm back. Don't worry, I'm back. It's nice to see you, dude. How are you?
Very well yourself, man.
Yeah, have you met Mash?
Yeah, I have.
Good.
Outside in the corridor, we have got a glass of water together. How's it? No, it's
water from the Water Academy. Okay, so how are you? What's news?
Dude, like so much has actually gone on. Just realized the other day, Pigspotter has actually been going on for 15 years.
15
years.
You were a sensation when you started.
It was pretty epic back in the day. It's nice to keep anonymous for like 5 years. Yeah. So like nobody knew who I was. That was fantastic. That was a lot of fun. But then obviously, you know, with the invention of Waze and all those other good things, kind of, you know, to hit a bit of a plateau, and then you just...
Let's give you credit. You helped lots of people by telling them where the pigs were.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun.
And the Metro Police, no one loves them.
No one loves them. I mean, look, and that's purely because of the perception that they've given themselves.
Sure.
Every time people get pulled over, the first thing they ask is like, yes, it's hot today.
Yeah.
Yes, it's hot. And that's the first international...
Don't worry. Mash and I have talked about how we've both in various situations ended up with Metro Police people you've either had to bribe or who've asked for a bribe or who you didn't give a bribe to. That's pretty much the story in South Africa.
That is what it is. And so they didn't paint themselves in a favorable light as it is. And obviously, you know, like with the whole pork references, that was the catalyst, you know,
they hated you, hey?
Oh, man, they hated me. They actually illegally set up roadblocks to try and find me. That was the funny part of it, yeah. So they were conducting illegal roadblocks, checking people's phones to see who they were on Twitter to see if they could find the Pigspotter.
Which they're not allowed to do.
They're not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
No. But anyway, yeah. And then
do you think that the Metro Police have become better or worse?
Look, from what I've seen less of them. To be deadly honest, I haven't seen as many Metro cops on the roads. If you go down to Cape Town, however, because I'm actually semi-grating, but I'm between provinces at the moment. Yeah. So I'm flying up and down all the time. Okay. The cops down there, they're a lot more visible. You know, so I kind of take my hats off to them. They don't take garbage. Whereas the guys up here in Joburg, I haven't really seen much of
They just set up cameras and hide in the bush.
That's it.
That's their job.
They're literally warthogs. They're sitting in their little sanctuaries in their sties, and they just sit on their phones, playing on the phones, and they do absolutely nothing else.
Absolutely, yeah. And Gareth, this is exactly why I mentioned earlier. I keep cash, at least $500 in cash.
Is this
in my
for
glove
them?
Box. This is just for them, because they will look for anything. In fact, there was one plot that they were pushing quite recently. Somebody exposed it on TikTok, that they would lie and say that your tail lights aren't working.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Any reason to try and pull you over to garner.
And of course, you're not gonna go check.
You see, once you go down the path where you don't know what the rules are, and when you give people, we were talking about this in the first hour, vague guidelines to follow.
Yes.
Then they will always find a reason to get you into trouble or for you to have issues with them. So if they wanted to, and they're after a bribe, they'll say, oh, well, you know, the nuts on your tires aren't tight enough.
Or, absolutely. If you're ignorant about the law, if you're ignorant about the law and your rights as a driver.
Where's your triangle?
Yeah. Well, look, that is a legal requirement, though. Let's be honest. That is a legal requirement. But you know, and only for vehicles from, I think it was like 2013.
You had to study this stuff.
I had to, yeah. But I had a lot of help from our mutual friend, Mr. Howard Dubowski.
Yes.
Who obviously sadly has passed away since then. But
he was great.
Oh, man, he was amazing. He literally took me under his wing.
So let's just give him credit, even though he's no longer around. So Howard he knew all the law.
Yeah.
He knew all the rules. And basically he was like a Batman of ordinary citizens against cops who would just lie about the law and just get people very, very upset, very nervous, very anxious around police because they seemed so arbitrary. And Howard knew what was going on. He knew what the road safety procedures were.
And auto, for the most part.
He knew all of that too. He knew what they could arrest you for and what they couldn't.
Yeah.
And he did a very, very good job. And you have too. I mean, you've helped so many people.
Thanks, dude.
But that's kind of in the past for you, right?
No. It's massively in the past. I've actually, I don't think I've been on social media as much. I think only since, it's become a bit more political, which is not necessarily ideal.
No.
Some people, like, I tend to use my platform now just to express opinions and raise things that I think are important. Like with this whole Trump thing going down, it's not the direction that I wanted.
Did you end up doing what I did probably about 5 or 6 years ago, where I kind of went quiet?
Oh yeah,
because it was there was no more fun to be had. Everything was super serious,
and the
just
vitriol,
arguing and angry and hateful and just nasty. Stephen Fry was the first one to do that. He was like, "I'm getting out of this." But then I've kind of come quietly back. I must tell you, I'm having fun again.
Okay.
And I don't care who I piss off now.
Yeah. Do you ever respond to the haters?
No.
Not?
No, that's the difference. Like I used to reply to people.
Yeah.
And Mash is very active, but mostly on TikTok, right? I mean,
I'm
that's
active everywhere.
But that's where you get your biggest
Twitter,
following.
Instagram. My biggest following is actually Twitter.
Oh, okay.
Actually, it's about to change to TikTok because I've gained quite a bit.
I'm sure.
Over the past week. But for me, all the hate, all the people.
Do you respond?
I don't. I like every single comment.
Oh, even if they hate
everything, even if it's hate. So I get a shitload, like a ridiculous amount of homophobic comments.
Oh, really?
Homophobic comments about how we can see that you had no father figure in your life.
But you have. How do they know you?
I literally have.
Who are these people?
Like I get a shit. Like literally, just go on in your my pages and.
I won't look at it.
It's insane the amount that comes in, but I just like them. I just like them all because I want you to feel like a piece of shit because you commented garbage about me.
I will suggest, I'll suggest this.
I like that.
Well, Mash, that's it's brave of you, but it can wear you down.
Yeah.
I mean, in the beginning, it's fun. The volume is just eventually unbearable because I've got this thing I've done now with Twitter, where you only see the comments that are put up by people who you follow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know.
Right?
Yeah.
So if I'm following both of you now, if you post something or you reply to something, I'll see it. But I don't see anyone else's. So I actually don't know. Unless you go and look. You can still go and look for it.
Yeah.
But I don't go and look.
Yeah, there's no need to.
How many people do you follow?
What are you going to get from it? I mean, like, what are you going to get from nasty people? How many do I follow? I don't know. Let me check.
Yeah. I think I follow like 20 people. I'll get like absolutely
then you know how nice it'll be? You should do that. You can go into your settings. You can do this.
Yeah.
I follow 588.
Okay. Well, that's still the sizable. Yeah. At least
that's
now,
okay, right?
Yeah, 588. Okay, that's good to know. Thanks, dude.
I follow 32,000.
Yes, sis. You follow 32,000.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't see anything I'd post anyway because it's going to get lost in your feed.
Honestly, on my Twitter, I just go to trending. That's all I look at.
Okay.
Something's not trending, I don't really care.
Sure. That's one way to. We all have our filters.
Yeah.
All right. So what would you say about? And this is something that comes up often, Cliff, is about kind of how the media environment has changed. What it takes to be you were one of the first influencers before that was even a word.
Yeah.
Is that something that you think has got better or worse? Like the Metro Police, have they got better or worse? Is this something that would you still consider yourself if people ask, because you've got a sizable following on there that people still
own about
they hang around,
yeah, for some reason they haven't all dropped off because I haven't been using the account.
What do you think of that?
Look, I think when I look at the content that is available on social media, what people are posting, a lot of it is health. A lot of them looking like towards gymming, a lot of them looking towards mental health, a lot of them are looking to try and teach better parenting and those kind of things. And one of the biggest issues I have with all of this is people compare themselves to the content that they're consuming.
Yes.
Right? So if you are viewing a guy who's actually gone down and onto one knee and he's proposed to his missus after stepping off a helicopter at the Vic Falls, your partner's going to be like, geez, you didn't do that for me. Like, clearly you don't love me as much as this guy loves his missus, or
so
parenting,
unhealthy.
for example, the people say, hey, look, this is how I raised my child. And, my child can tell you what different types of cars are just, at 2.5 years old, which is amazing, like fantastic. Congratulations. But then people take it as something like, oh, geez, I didn't do that with my child. My child couldn't do that until he was like 6. So I don't think that all the content that is being produced, some of it, although people may do it with the intentions of trying to be helpful and trying to educate.
Most people not, by the way, they're just showing off.
Yeah, most people probably just showing off.
Are just
Absolutely.
showing off.
They just want to, just.
They will say, you can ask the guy who proposed to his girlfriend that Vic falls off a helicopter. You can say to him, why did you post that? He's going to say, oh, well, it's because I love her so much. It's because I wanted everyone in the world to know how much I love her. No, you did it because you want people to think you're cool.
Yeah.
It's attention seeking. Don't bullshit us, right, Mash?
Certainly.
Yeah.
Everybody wants people to think they're cool. Everybody wants people to think they're rich on social media.
So I agree with you, both of you, because if you think about the natural way people have found their place in society, the way you position yourself among your friends, family, work colleagues, the people you see the most, it's a small group. Most of us, there's this Dunbar's number, 120, I think it is. That's the maximum number of meaningful connections you can have in your life at any given time.
Yes.
And you'll figure out your place in society and in the world based on those 120 people, roughly. Now, thanks to social media and the internet, you're comparing yourself to billionaire Saudi princes.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, oh, well, I don't have a golden bath, so I'm a loser.
Right.
And even if it's subconscious, that's affecting people very negatively. So I joke with Mash just now. I made fun of like Gen Z people, mental health.
Yeah.
But honestly, the mental health problem and the anxiety and all that stuff is coming from exactly the stuff you're talking about.
Social media.
It's people comparing themselves to people they don't know, that they are not related to, that they have no relationship with, that are making them feel bad about themselves because they're not able to show off as much as those people.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I can give you a good example of this actually with my own little brother. My little brother spends all day, all night on TikTok. He's done with school. He just lays in bed all day and just scrolls through TikTok. That's all he does. And I've had many talks with him. I'm even trying to get him to make TikToks because I'm always telling him, you have a brother who's a freaking TikTok superstar. Like, use me.
Yeah, exactly.
Use me.
Yeah, you could help him get started.
Yeah, but he just watches. And then whenever he does speak, he's always comparing me to people. He's like, well, she has 500,000 followers, this friend of mine.
Oh, it's
and
so
he thinks
bad.
in his mind, these people are his friends. They're all like one big happy family singing Kumbaya together. And I had to make him realize and bring him down to earth a bit and make him understand that this is real life. TikTok is not real life. You also can't compare me to the people on TikTok because I'm a real person. I am your brother. You know me.
Right.
You don't know these people. And you comparing me, like, you'll be like, oh yeah, Ghost Klubi just bought an M4. Yeah, you're still driving that cheap little car of yours. He just bought an M4. That's how my little brother is. He's a toxic person. But yeah, I'm like, yeah, but why are you comparing me with him? Also, should I feel bad that he bought an M4 and I don't have one? Who said I want? Who said I even want one?
But you're able to. You see, I also think. I mean, Mash, you're younger than Cliff and I, but
yeah,
we're the last generation.
Yeah, we are.
You and I, anyway, and many of the people in the comment section, last generation who knew what it was like to live without phones.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
true.
And I think you got a little bit of that.
I got a little bit.
When I was at the whole way through school, no phones, right? We didn't have cell phones. They hadn't been invented yet.
Correct.
They hadn't been, not one had been sold in this country. There were people who had mobile phones, but do you remember they were those huge, big things? It was like you had to carry around a battery like a suitcase.
Yeah.
I've got one here. It's in this bag. This is the case.
That's just your phone.
It used to be. You remember those big mobile phones?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Pages, back in the day.
Then at varsity, they started to come out with phones, but they were crap. You could basically just make a call. They didn't, and then eventually SMS, and then eventually apps started to come out and all the rest of it. And then it changed very quickly.
Yeah.
And now I spend, in my opinion, way too much time on my phone, but it's still not as much as people like your brother, whose whole world is there.
Yeah. That's their reality.
I think you said it just now, real life and your virtual life.
Yeah.
And you have to spend more of your time in your real life or you're going to go crazy.
Yeah. and that's so I try to implement that separation as well. So that's why even when James was like started playing the TikTok video when I got here, I was like, oh, we'll play it for the show, hey, because I don't like my social media life mixing up with my real life. I want it to be completely separate. I want people to know that I'm a completely different person from what you see on social media. Yes, I'm still authentic. I still share bits of my life, but that's not who I am. I'm a full person. I'm not this crazy person who's busy spraying hydrogen peroxide on his face and running around gym parking lots and shit. I actually am a real person. And that's all I want. Well, my little brother mostly, but also other people to understand as well that you should learn to separate these things.
100%. I mean, even so when I had my account, the best part for me was actually being able to be anonymous.
Yes.
So a lot of people didn't know what I did. So I would go, so I own a company and I do like security for a living, right? Okay. So I walk into a lot of people's homes, and one of them even happens to be quite high up in the JMPD chain. And I was there working in his house without him even knowing. And that for me was the best thing. I could still walk around everywhere. Nobody knew anything, who it was or whatever the story
What
was.
happened? How did it eventually get out who you were?
Oh, geez.
Because you tried really hard to keep that anonymous.
No, I did try to keep it anonymous. And I probably still would have been anonymous today. But what happened was there was a kid who skipped a red robot and killed a motorbiker. And he was driving his mom's G-Wagon. And I mean, there were eyewitnesses on the scene who then sent me all the information, said, listen, it was Nape Fasha was actually his name. Okay. And they sent me complete proof. I had like the number plate of the vehicle. It was said, listen, this is his mom's car. They just got it wrapped that day because it used to be white. They got it wrapped black for her birthday. And he was under the influence, hit the biker. Wow. And the biker subsequently died on scene. And a white BMW came through, picked him up, and they abandoned the car and they left the scene. So I posted about this. I said, listen, this is what happened. And he turned around and tried to sue me for defamation of character for $500,000. That's what he wanted. And but in those legal proceedings, he got my name and surname, and he literally just
so they got like because of the proceedings, they were able to do a search and find you and
find everything. Got my full name and surname.
Oh my God, but you must have been really nervous about
that. Not at all, actually.
And what happened with the case?
Yeah, what happened?
Nothing happened at all. So
because it's not defamation.
No, it's not defamation. So I mean, I handed it.
You say nothing happened to you, but I mean, at the same time, this kid
what happened to him?
Killed a person.
Is he in prison?
Well, look, let's put it this way. Nothing was. I mean, look, I kind of stopped following once the lawsuit started coming through, and I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to get involved in this anymore. No. Handed it over to my lawyer, and I didn't mention another word of it. And he said, listen, let's just keep quiet about it. It'll just get swept under the rug. Yeah. So I was like, okay, fine. So I kept quiet about it. And his defense was saying that it was actually his brother who was driving. And then I don't know if his brother actually took the fall for it. Because, I mean, they're very influential people. Sorry, the parents come from, obviously, a lot of money. So we suspect that somewhere along the line, people were paid off to keep quiet.
How disgusting.
Just let it go,
And that's how you became known publicly.
Yeah, correct. That's how my identity was revealed.
Sure.
All four names, like literally, like, this is who this is, A, B, C, D. And then it came out like, oh, he lives in Germiston and this and that and that. So, yeah, it was quite interesting.
That's even dangerous.
But you know what's actually one of the worst parts for me of this entire story is that's where I first got the glimpse of what social media really is like. Because immediately I had a whole lot of people saying to me, oh, you're racist. You're going after him only because he's a black guy.
Of course they
do. No, this is what happened. You're a white guy, obviously, because now we can see what your full name is. Previously, they didn't know. I could have been this 45-year-old guy in a basement of his parents' house or something like that, But yeah, and that's where I first realized just how nasty the internet can be. And then when it came to light that the biker that died was actually a black guy, then they were like, oh, okay, no, it's fine. Then it's fine that you report.
Yeah, but you see, this is what people are so full of shit.
Anymore. Yeah, now it's not racist. Now it's fine. Now
people are so full of shit. It really bothers me. I mean, even in the comments this morning, like there was an argument between Snaye and someone else, and this other person assumed that Snaye was a man, and she's a woman.
Assumption.
But it's amazing how that's important.
Yeah.
Like, how come we can't just assess somebody based on strength of their argument, their personality, how kind they are, what they do for themselves and for other people, how much value they bring to anything. No, we have to preface that first with their pronouns or with their gender or their race, or like, it's just so dumb. And we keep, as human beings, we keep falling into this. I try really hard, and it takes conscious awareness all the time to not pander to people because they are women or because they're black or they're white or they're whatever, they're connected to someone important. Because the worst thing you can do is to patronize people and treat them a little bit better because you feel like somehow you're superior to them. That's horrible.
Sure.
It's demeaning for them, and it's demeaning, frankly, for you. Similarly, you don't get extra mean with someone when you find out that they're white or black, or you speaking to a man or a woman, because otherwise you're just a prick. And people are not even aware of this. It's like their whole thing changes. I mean, I know somebody who on the phone, they sound white, but they're actually black. And he said to me before, like the difference, the way he gets treated when people find out that he's black, as compared to when they hear him on the phone. It's mad. 100%. And then sometimes the opposite happens. Sometimes they'll hear him on the phone, and he'll get like this attitude from people. And then when they meet him, they're like, oh my God, you're black. It's so nice to meet you. Like, oh, for God's sake. Right? Stupid. It's just dumb.
That is dumb.
It's the reality, though.
People are so disappointed.
The country we're living in. It's so unfortunate.
But one thing I do love, I must say, like, as much as I don't like social media, right? I do love the fact that things are turning around. So while we've had a couple of years of this crazy, insane, woke, non-binary, identify as a toaster mentality, right? A lot of that now is backtracking, and people have seemingly brought back bullying.
Well, I think this is but just careful, because Mash is like the next generation, and when you say bullying, they shit themselves.
No, not that kind of bullying, but kind of like
Mash was just about to call the social worker in. No, I think like anything, and you said you've been on social media for what, 15 years?
Well, it's probably about 16 years. I only started Pigspotter 15 years ago.
So you know what a 16-year-old is like. They're still figuring themselves out.
Almost have one.
Yeah, there we go. Really, your eldest.
My eldest, well, I only have one. She's 15 and a half. Can you believe it?
Oh, so you started Pigspotter and had a baby at the same time?
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway,
she got real very quick.
So when you think of a 15-and-a-half-year-old, 16-year-old, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? They're all over the place. Hormones are fucking here, there, and everywhere. They're not sure who likes them, who doesn't like them. They are comparing themselves constantly to other people. They're usually a bit of a mess. And they're just figuring themselves out. And that is what's happening with social media. It's figuring itself out. It will get better. We will get to a point where we don't have to love or hate it. It's just part of life. And I think it's getting closer to that now. You can have a positive, useful, and engaging relationship with social media. Like I think the three of us have. We've been through our ups and downs with Twitter or with Facebook or with Instagram or with TikTok. But you'll figure it out. I fear for people who are entirely in that world, like your brother, for example, and so many other kids. It's not just your brother. I mean, it's pretty much an epidemic for young people at the moment. They are always on their phones. I watched people I said I went to the shops yesterday. They don't walk around looking at the shops. They walk around like this the whole time. And I'm like, why did you bother coming here?
Yeah, why did they bother coming?
You could have just done your shopping online. Just take a lot, Timu.
Just 60-60.
60-60.
I'll be honest and say, one of the things that myself and my ex, as parents, we actually decided, our child's not going to have TikTok. And she still today does not have TikTok. She doesn't have Facebook. She doesn't have Instagram. She doesn't need any of this.
Okay, but did you ever feel you were depriving her of something?
Not at all.
Okay, good.
Not at all. You know what?
No,
because
good.
she's still getting that social interaction. She has 3 cousins, so they're always going out, they're playing, and that kind of stuff. So they rough and tumble. So she's getting a lot of the social cues and that kind of stuff from there. Then she goes to a school, and she's made a lot of friends. So she moved the whole. I moved them 2 years ago to Cape Town. So it was literally like, okay, you're finishing primary school, great. Now you're going to start high school in Cape Town, in the country, province that you've
It
never
is a
been
country,
to.
no. It is a different country. For Joburg people, it's a different country.
It is a different country. And she very quickly made friends. So which shows that, that she is quite well acclimatized to social cues and social norms. And yeah, she gets along famously.
Does she know that her dad was a big celebrity at one stage?
She couldn't be bothered.
No, not really.
It didn't really interest her at all. Well, I would obviously, if I get invited to like a Disney on Ice and those kind of things, I would take her so she'd get some of the perks, and she enjoyed that. Yeah. But it was never, oh, look, my dad is this, my dad is that. No, no. I think she was also maybe a little bit too young. So she was probably like 6, 7 years old. So like at the crux of it.
Mash, if your brother comes to Joburg and goes out with you and people recognize you, doesn't that give him like a bit of a thrill?
I've actually been recognized a number of times while I was with him, even in Klerksdorp. And I thought it would excite him. It'll make him realize that, oh, wow, I should actually be talking to him instead of just staring at my phone.
It's real world. He doesn't care.
He doesn't care because he wants to see the G-Wagons. He wants to see the lavish lifestyle and all of that. It's a mindset.
And because he's also humanized you.
Yes.
So that's the thing. Like people have glamified what Instagram is and the lives that people lead on those things. It's not real.
And I want to go to something else for a second, not because I think this is boring, but because I've got both of you here. Mash just mentioned 60-60. Now, I know you're not involved in that Pigspotter stuff anymore, but I reckon these 60-60 guys,
dude,
first of all, they're the biggest danger on the road.
100%.
Because last night I saw, it was this morning. It wasn't even last night. It was this morning coming into work. There were 2 of these 60-60 guys on their bikes, obviously going, because the shops aren't open yet.
Yeah.
Yes.
None of them had lights on their bikes. And these bikes, I don't know, you see some of the condition of these things is not great.
Yeah.
But I feel sorry for them. At the same time, they are probably the victims of more accidents than anybody else.
They are.
Because they're going along too slowly, too fast, dark road, no lights, delivery, trying to squeeze in 3 deliveries within an hour or whatever. It can't be easy. And I certainly don't want to have them banned. That would be a terrible idea.
Yeah.
And I certainly don't want to have them punished for things that are not their fault. But they are like a different law unto themselves, right?
They're basically the new taxi drivers of the motorbiking community.
Yeah, of course.
That's literally what they are. I've numerous times, I also ride a bike.
And you ride a bike.
I ride a bike. And I've numerous times actually stopped at a robber next to one of them. I said to the guy straight, I said, listen, carry on riding like that, you are going to die. And
they do. The sad thing is they
do. And once I actually saw one riding without a helmet. And funny enough, he happened to be doing it down my road. He was driving down my road in Bligari. And saw him riding without a helmet. So I actually stopped him. Because I have a helmet that's like a bit of an older one. I bought myself a new one. So I had a little bit of an older one. I was like, listen, at least here's one. Like, just take it and just wear it at least. Yeah. If you're wearing nothing else, and then he didn't have a jacket or pants or anything like that. It's just like shorts, a t-shirt, and no helmet. He's like, no, thank you. I was just starting, check a 660. I'm like, guy, you get taken off that bike, you come off second best every time.
Carol calls them the biggest bike gang in South Africa.
100%.
Lee says people must just give motorcycles and bicycle drivers the right of way. They don't have the protection of a car, so just be kind and let them pass. Don't sweat the small stuff. Would you agree with that?
I always let them pass. Yeah.
They use electric bikes now, so you can no longer hear them coming. That's also a thing.
Yeah,
sounds dangerous.
Beth says
it absolutely is. So sorry to cut you off there. But I was approached by, obviously, because in the height of the whole Pigspotter thing, and I'm a biker. I was approached by companies saying, "Hey, listen, here's these electric bikes. These things are amazing. Come through, try it out, and let us know." Now, I used to ride a Harley Davidson, and this thing is very loud. Okay, and like loud and proud, and extra lights on. I need to be seen. I need to be heard. But it's for my own safety. That really is what it's about. Says, okay, come through, meet me in Parkhurst, and you got to try out this bike. We're just going to go down to Joburg Zoo and come back again, and you can get a feel for it. Okay. The acceleration on that thing is pretty impressive. It's really cool. It's great acceleration.
Yeah.
But on that short drive, I almost got taken out about 4 times. And him and I were actually riding in a small convoy. It's just the two of us.
Yeah.
But I almost got taken out 4 times because all of a sudden people saw, oh, there's a bike next to me, and they swerved out of the way. Because obviously their intention is to give way, and they want to be safe. But the other guys don't see you.
So
they just come straight.
Basically saying that a bike needs to make a noise.
Absolutely,
as much noise as possible.
Absolutely, so you can hear them coming and move out the way, and whatever the story is. Yeah,
sure.
But I mean, that didn't help my situation. I mean,
no.
Like I said, literally a year ago, I had again on that Harley. I was coming down Barry Hertog Drive, and I had a driver make 2 illegal U-turns. Not 1, 2. So the first one, and I could see he was about to make a U-turn. Now, Barry Hertog is 4 lanes, right? It's 2 lanes coming, 2 lanes going. And I could see him on the opposite side with his hazards going. And just by the way, he was looking at the cars approaching him on his rearview mirror. I said, okay, this guy's going to make a U-turn. And now I'm obviously ahead of the other traffic that's coming alongside with me, right? And I see him, I slow down and I see him make the U-turn. I was like, yeah, you see, if I didn't watch out, if I wasn't, perceptive, this was going to happen. I was going to get knocked off. And then he's driving on the left-hand side of the road. And I'm like, okay, well, now I'm going to overtake him. Sunday, 11:45 a.m. On my way to a kid's birthday party. And as I go now to overtake him, he does another right. So what his intention was, I don't know if you know, in Greenside, there's a shopping center and there's a parking lot, big parking lot, but there's an exit only entrance.
Yes.
Okay, entrance, exit. Right. So it's the exit only. And you can only come out, you're not allowed to go in there. To go in, you have to go further down by the robot, turn right to come in.
Yes.
He wanted to illegally, again, shoot into
but
parking lot.
Let me ask you this, both of you, because this is something that comes up all the time. Our driving is getting much worse. And I'm not the best driver. I've had car accidents.
You were caught speeding as well.
I was caught speeding. I'm in no position to point fingers at other people.
We all do.
Yeah. Okay, and frankly, I don't think there's anyone in South Africa who's never broken any rules of the road. So just don't give me too much shit. The point is, and I mean this humbly, I think we really have like a pretty awful track record. We know about pedestrian deaths, accidents, road claims. We know what a disaster the road accident fund is, all of this stuff. And it's probably, I'd say 80-90% of it is people just not paying attention and not giving a shit about other people. Like, I don't know why people think it's okay to mindlessly, I mean, you can even see it without cars. You just see it by the way people walk and don't look at where they're walking. People bump into each other. They don't give a shit. They're in their own world. They're not paying attention to anything that's going on around them. You could see it on the highways even. You watch a car going like this and you think,
busy swerving. You go past them. They're on freaking TikTok.
Yeah.
They're on freaking TikTok.
Right. We got to tidy our shit up, right?
It's a me-first attitude, actually. It's what it's about. People are always, I mean, and that's also something you see on social media all the time, is your mental wellness is of paramount importance. You need to put yourself first. You matter before anyone else is pretty much what they're
and people have taken that to the nth degree.
Absolutely.
So now all they think about is themselves.
Yeah, exactly. No one else exists around them. Yeah.
It's a sad reality.
It's horrible. So somebody says here about the 60/60 guys, they have little mini taxis to drive around. Apparently, they also all kind of live in
together.
Yeah, they're not all of them in the whole country, but like they live in, because I know that there's a house near where I live where there are about 5 or 6 of these guys who all live together. Yeah,
not just the 60/60 drivers, Uber,
all of them.
All these guys, they all live in these little arrangements.
I mean, it's probably clever for them. They can save money, right?
Because I know when I lived in Rivonia, actually even now, I live in Greenstone now, but there's a corner close by in my area where you'll just see Ubers, and it's lots of Corollas, C-classes. That's most of the black C-classes, Corollas just parked at that corner.
Right.
And all these guys live there. Like they sleep in these cars.
Well, that's why the cars smell like that.
That's why the cars smell like balls all the time. Because they sleep in them. And they live in there. I mean, I remember I was once in a car and this one guy, I think I had just woken him up. He even had like stuff in his eyes here. I think like my request just pinged and like, time to go pick someone up.
This is alarm clock.
And yeah, he came by, picked me up. I was living in Rivonia at the time, and the car smelled like balls, crazy balls.
Yeah, he's just like sleeping.
Yeah,
in there,
and on top of that,
in there. And...
it was like his home.
It's bad.
It was like this car is his home. I could tell, and even I remember his app was going off. His grinder app was going off. You could hear that.
Oh no!
Oh, wow.
I was like, wow, he's very comfortable in here. Hey, very comfortable. I felt super uncomfortable.
Yeah, there's something about. So, what do you guys think of the Afrikaans one? That's also getting a lot of heat. People are like angry because they say, well, why must you be Afrikaans? It was set up as an Afrikaans Uber.
It's not a race thing. It's just a
language thing. But I mean, they're not going to have a problem if a black driver speaks Afrikaans.
Yeah.
So look, you know what social media is like. We've spoken about this. They lose their minds about anything on there.
Oh, they look for it.
So what do you think of the fact that now you can use, what is it called? Vanatu?
Yeah, Varnatu.
Vanatu.
Oh, Vanatu.
You can use them. I want to try them. See what they're.
I want to try it too, but I don't know Afrikaans, Gareth. So it's going to be so much fun.
But you
make a TikTok.
You can try a little bit.
I'm from Kwakwa.
No, but you please, where do you go home when you visit your parents?
Okay, I visit them in Clarkston.
Oh, exactly.
But I wanna try Vanatu and just get in there, be like, hey, hello, Yala,
Imagine if they get Vanatu. Okay, so you know when it's going to get confusing is if they bring out Vanatu Black.
Oh no, then you must speak
They'll
Zulu.
mean like Uber Black, but the driver. I'm not going to use Vanatu Black.
That'll be amazing. One just for closer people, so you just speak closer when you enter.
Why don't you? I mean, listen. 2 business ideas for you before you go anywhere. First thing, why don't you start like a kind of Gen Z type driving service where you can only have Gen, so you don't have to talk shit to some old man or old woman, right? That's the one thing. There's Vanatu. The second thing is you must bring out Mash's skincare products.
I thought of that.
Your creams. Look at what you got them sold out in clicks. So
I thought of that, but I think I need to consult a lawyer first, just to be safe.
Please, how many black hair care products have been brought out over the years that we found out is very bad?
Too many,
right?
Yeah.
So go on, Mash. Do it.
I'm gonna launch my own creams.
Go on. Yeah. Why not?
Then I'll be called Uya Crema.
Uya Crema.
Yeah, that's what they'll be called.
Vaseline 2.0.
Yeah. And then Vanatu for Xhosa people.
There we go. Let's do it.
So that'll be interesting.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So you're going to Cape Town, Cliff?
Yes, I am. Yeah. Well, I mean, look, I will forever be between provinces. That's literally going to be my life.
You're going to still look like a Joburger in Cape Town.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. I mean,
there's no way. No one's going to look at you and go, this guy, he's definitely from
the
here.
mountain. No, definitely not.
What made you decide to go down eventually?
Just a better life for my child.
Okay.
So it was a case of her and her mom would literally go, let's say, from home to school, to work, back to the school to fetch the child, and then back home. Yeah. That was their life.
There was no real, so you could be anywhere.
Yeah, she was in attempted hijacking twice, smashed and grabbed as well. I think it was either once or twice as well. And they were always in a state of paranoia.
No, that's not good.
If there was any like family events, they would go to the family event and then say, listen, we need to leave before like 5 o'clock, before it starts getting dark, because they don't want to drive around at night.
That's not nice.
So then that's not a way that I wanted my child to,
of course not,
grow up in, So I said, listen, let's go down to. So I actually went on a whale trail. I'd never thought about going to Cape Town. I actually went on a whale trail. Did it for 5 days. You actually see the whales coming, along there by Hermanus.
Oh, wow.
And I fell in love with Cape Town then. That's when Cape Town actually spoke to me. And I said to Mike, I said, listen, what do you guys think about coming to Cape Town? She was like, yep, let's go. Within 3 months.
That's lovely.
Within 3 months in Cape Town, moved them down.
I think that's great. People, again, make your own decision wherever you want to go. I couldn't live in Cape Town. It's a fun place to go. I like visiting. Couldn't live there.
Yeah.
Julian in the comments says, I'm keen to connect with Mash. And then there's come on, bro, hook up. So there's a message for you there, Mash. Don't convince Mash to do skincare products or anything. It's that cuck that funded Action SA. With Herman Mashaba.
Actionless SA?
Yeah. Aren't they the 423rd biggest party in the country? What are they?
Yeah. Probably something anyway.
Who knows? What a joke. All right, well, listen, I can't believe it's 8 o'clock already. This has been, Mash. It feels like 5 minutes, right?
Oh, time flies.
Yes, sis. Busy morning. Just put up that great picture I took once more. Let people just have a look at my
Appreciate it.
How amazing are my
yes.
photography skills. I mean, just look at the perfect balance of the columns and see that?
Oh, my
cropped in just right.
That's
huh?
incredible, dude. That's a great photo.
Yeah.
And we actually in Joburg have the best sunsets.
No, it's not.
And
It's all the photographer.
You know.
I just want to remind all the actual photographers in the country, you don't have to worry. Photography isn't even a hobby of mine. That's how talented I am. I just took that picture and look how great it is. So you don't have to worry. I'm not going to come into your world and try to steal your thunder. I have no interest in becoming a photographer, but you're lucky I've decided I don't want to, because I'd take all your jobs.
People run out of jobs. Yeah.
I'm just going to list that on in fact, I'll change all my bios to photographer for today.
As well. Let's just add it onto it as well.
Just great. I love the way everybody thinks when they take one good picture.
I'm an amazing photographer.
No, I'm not. I'm really not. Just pure luck. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Mash, thank you. It's always good to see you.
Thank you, Gareth.
And be safe with that peroxide. Don't use more than 40 volumes. Okay?
I will try not to.
Please. And Cliff, very good to see you, my friend.
Too,
and I hope that we all catch up again soon.
Yeah, let's do it.
Lovely. Enjoy
nice.
Cape Town.
We'll do.
Mash,
Thank you.
we've got to make this product work.
I'm going to
Telling
make
you.
this product and sell it
Let's
after
go.
consulting a lawyer.
Let's go.
All
That's
right.
good. If you can sell out all of Click's supply of peroxide after a TikTok video, you can easily sell a couple of thousand bottles of this product. Let's go,
100%.
Mash.
For the inner
Mix it
thighs,
for them. You
I'll
can
mix
make
it
sure
for
it's
them.
safe.
Yeah.
Not these idiots who are burning themselves.
Yo.
All right, everybody. We will see you on Friday. Have an awesome day.